Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome on back to the channel of Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, of course. If I can talk, the daily series here on the channel where we reflect on what's being said about Chelsea across the media globe, giving you my opinion on it, more importantly asking for yours. Lots to reflect on today. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, a big summer transfer rebuild is expected under new ownership, Todd Boehly's consortium, and negotiations of contracts, situations of agents, it's all happening a million miles an hour, and this is the channel where you get all your information, or certainly my commentary on it, if you are interested in said commentary. Do consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel if you're new to the experience, or even if you're not new and you're yet to subscribe, but please do drop a like. It's very kind of you to do that. Today we were reflecting on 3 stories. Birthday boy. An informed striker, Romelu Lukaku, his agent has been talking, understandably. It's an interesting situation poised now, and many people do not know what to think if you take everything into consideration. Also, Chelsea are looking at a Declan Rice / Aurélien Tchouameni alternative. Of course, if you're a club like Chelsea looking for a new midfielder, you need to investigate options. Chelsea are looking at PSV midfielder Ibrahim Sangare, if that's how you say it. Also, Chelsea, of course, want to sign Jules Kounde and want to make a very quick move with him and get the ball rolling in terms of defensive reinforcements. We'll be reflecting on articles from Court Offside, Sports Mole, and of course, the quotes from the agent, from Romelu Lukaku's agent, is from Matt Law. I'll be citing it off Twitter. Settle in and get comfortable, ladies and gentlemen, and I think we're probably going to start off with the situation with big Romelu Lukaku. So, he's in form. The last 2 games he's been good. I think the draw against Wolves when he scored those 2 great goals and generally had a very good game. I think he was man of the match. Had Mason Mount not played so well in the last game out where Rom also scored, he may have had a shout for man of the match because it was an excellent centre forward striker performance, I was going to say. Do you know what this reminds me of? I was just thinking. It reminds me of the time when, was it Aston Villa and then Brighton, when he scored those goals consecutively and won man of the match and one of them again, off the bench in fact. And that was just before the interview dropped. He was in form. He looked good. He looked like one of our most important players. And then Sky Italia dropped the interview and then he'd been poor ever since. Obviously, he came back in to score important goals in the Club World Cup. Goals that ultimately won us the Club World Cup. Remember, a trophy that Chelsea were yet to win. Excuse me. And it was really important to win that. But generally, his form has been dismal and body language looked poor. But if you've seen pictures of Romelu Lukaku recently, dude is looking way more trim. How has he suddenly just lost all this weight? He was looking really thick, heavy, carb loaded. There's that picture of him and Ruben Loftus-Cheek both in recovery, and he looks really lean, like Inter Milan lean. And it's playing with my head. I don't know what to think anymore of oh yeah, he's great, whatever. No, he's got to go, he just doesn't fit. Or maybe Tuchel's a little bit in the wrong here. Or do you know what I mean? There's so many things to consider that it's difficult to know where to stand. Still, he's 29 years old today, so he's not getting any younger. But before, you'd think 29, a few years ago, you might be thinking, oh, I don't know about this, maybe sell him. But then again, you look at the likes of Karim Benzema and Robert Lewandowski, and I'm even going to include Jamie Vardy in that, reaching their best numbers post-30. Their best performances, their best contributions after they turn the age of 30. So there's something to consider. I'm going to read the quotes out now, or I'm going to read out what Matt Law said, and he does indeed quote it as well. The agent of Romelu, excuse me, I've got hay fever, dude. The agent of Romelu Lukaku has confirmed his intention to speak with Chelsea's new owners about the striker's future, admitting there was a problem, / is a problem. But he stresses no decisions have been made yet and there's been no talk with Inter or Milan yet. Federico Pastorello, quote, "I'm not the one to discuss technical choices, but it is obvious that there was a problem. The numbers, however, must be weighted. He is the best scorer of the team this season, even with lower playing time compared to his teammates." Possibly, it is, yes, he's scored the most goals and shout out to him for that. Although I think his goal involvement per 90 is is not the highest. It's like maybe 5th or 6th or something. It's not that great. The quote goes on. The situation must be carefully evaluated. Now there's Champions League to secure the FA Cup final. Romelu is totally focused on that. We have not talked about anything else. Meh, I doubt that, but yes, he needs to be focused. Pastorello added, it's nonsense to speculate on negotiations. Chelsea have just defined the takeover of the club. We still don't know who our new interlocutors are. I'm not going to pretend like I know what that word is, so let's just carry on going, let alone if we can easy for me to say, hypothesize talks with Inter, Milan, or whatever. We must be patient and wait. Essentially, the agent there is saying stuff that we know/speculated. It's not good. It's not good at the moment with Romelu Lukaku. He's not happy, and yeah, that's good that he's not happy. You wouldn't want him to be like, yeah, whatever, dog, I'm just going to sit on the bench and to pull 325 racks a week and, you know, chill out. No, he's unhappy. He's got into great shape, he's trim. He's scoring goals on the pitch. He looks like he's pressing more. He looks like he's getting upset when the balls are not coming to him, which, by the way, is actually quite often. He is upset when it happens, but he's getting over it quicker. And I've said it before, and hot dog, I'm going to say it again. His defence work is really good, Lukaku, in the box. He reminds me of Drogba when he used to go at the far post, or was it the near post? But anyway, defending like aerial balls. He's really good at clearing the ball. He's really good at that. And I know that sounds trivial for an elite goal-scoring superstar record signing, but genuinely it's important. And if Thomas Tuchel's going to continue this idea, this ethos of we're a hard-working team and we dig in and we're not superstars, which is great because then the egos die down, then this kind of stuff's important, dude. Anyway, watch this space. We're going to move on. Let me know what you think about the Lukaku situation. Should he stay or should he go now? Alright, let's move on. Let's talk about Jules Kounde before we talk about the midfield options. So, Jules Kounde, I'm going to read this off Sportsmole, which is a sports website, essentially. Chelsea want an early deal for Jules Kounde, so we know that Jules is still really keen on joining Chelsea, and he's a player that Chelsea have scouted and agreed to sign already. So, therefore, like, he should already be so far down the line, despite obviously sanctions in between. The Premier League giants have been eager to bring in the France international last summer, only to be put off by Sevilla demanding that a release clause is paid in full. Of course, prior to that, they had agreed a deal in principle, and then they suddenly changed their minds. They moved the goalposts. I've said it before here on the channel. I personally theorise that when Chelsea sold Zuma to West Ham for like 30 million, they knew Chelsea had more money, they knew Chelsea were down a centre-back and needed him more, so they just went, release clause, baby. And then Chelsea were like, no, we shan't get taken for a ride. And fortunately for Chelsea, the emergence of Trevor Chalobah eased that burden. Almost a year on from that saga, the Blues are still interested in acquiring the services of the 23-year-old, who is said to have admirers in Barcelona. Now, F off Barcelona, because you're taking Andreas Christensen, you want to take Cesar Azpilicueta, do not take our centre-back targets as well. According to Give Me Sport, Chelsea want to be proactive in securing a deal for Kounde as soon as their well-documented takeover is finished. So like, bang, sign a deal. Todd, you Hans-Jörg this and Clearlake, Owen Chelsea, sign. Kounde, get him in, man. With a consortium headed by Todd Boehly expected to be confirmed as Roman Abramovich's replacement before the end of the month, which is, soon, man. The West Londoners are being tipped to go all out for Kounde, who should be available for less than 68 million release clause. Yeah, I personally, dude, I think he's good. I think he's going to play right centre-back, and then Reece James will play right wing-back. That's personally what I think is going to happen. But saying that, I don't want to spend more than 50 million on him, especially if he's already agreed personal terms with Chelsea last season. He wants to leave Sevilla. I mean, let me know what you think down below, but I think 68 million, or even less, a bit less than that, I'd feel a bit uncomfortable spending 60 million on him. But hey, that's just me, man. As well as Andreas Christensen and then Antonio Rudiger leaving on free transfers, speculation persists that both Azpilicueta and Alonso could leave Stamford Bridge this summer. Hay fever sucks, man. I can't constantly be clearing my throat. Interesting. I still massively endorse this move. If Chelsea want him, if he wants Chelsea, if Tuchel wants him, it makes perfect sense, right? Get Jules Kounde in. I believe Goal from the Spanish version of Goal de España, have been reporting on the fact how Chelsea are looking at Jules Kounde, and also Jose Jimenez from Atletico Madrid. Of course, long-term target of Chelsea Football Club. Proper Simeone defender. Is that what we need? Maybe. I mean, he hasn't impressed me the last 2 times I've watched him, but I know he's generally a very highly rated defender, and we've been quoted silly money in the past. Okay, so Chelsea do want a midfielder. Regardless, even if they bring back Conor Gallagher, I think, I'm not sure Billy Gilmour or Ethan Ampadu are going to make the grade for, like, high minutes playing central midfielders for Chelsea. I just can't personally see it happening. So, of course, there's Aurélien Tchouameni, who Chelsea are in the race for, but PSG, Real Madrid, all the big European giants want him. And of course, there's Declan Rice, who has long been linked back to Chelsea. I would love either of those players. I think they're both top tier and elite. Of course, there's the story. I can't remember if I've mentioned it or referenced it yesterday, but Declan Rice has rejected an 8-year contract. An 8-year contract at West Ham for £200,000 a week. That is insane. That is insane. And there's also stories that are presumably false about his camp thinking he could get 300 and 400k a week. I absolutely think that's nonsense. I think if he was offered 150k a week at Chelsea, he'd probably come. Like Ruben Loftus-Cheek money. That's what I personally think. I think if he was offered the same wage as Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who, bear in mind, is a rotational player at Chelsea, I think he'd probably join. So this 400k, I'm assuming is nonsense. But yeah, he's serious about leaving West Ham. I think he does love them, but I think he's serious about just leaving them because that kind of security, 8 years at 200k a week, will take him up to 30 on a ridiculous, nearly best part of £1 million a month. Fair play, like, he's clearly got his mindset to turn down that kind of money. You need some cojones. So yeah, he wants to probably go to City, United or Chelsea. Probably would prefer Chelsea as a fan, but if the money's too silly, we have to look at alternatives. Maybe Aurélien Tchouameni, or maybe, as Court of Side are reporting, the PSV midfielder Ibrahima Sangare. Is it Sangare? I guess it's Sangare. As an alternative to Declan Rice. Let's read. Sangare has impressed at PSV this season, and the towering midfielder has been attracting interest from some of the biggest clubs around Europe. Rice has been a target for Chelsea in recent months, or I'd say probably almost recent years at this point, but according to the Daily Mirror, the club aren't willing to pay the £150 million asking price. And no, good, because I wouldn't want Chelsea to spend, as much as I love Declan Rice and I love him at Chelsea, not for £150 million. The report also states that they could turn Sangare as an alternative to Rice, as Tuchel looks to bolster his midfield with Jorginho and Kante reaching the latter stages of their career. Bringing in a 24-year-old who's performing well, despite not reaching his prime, could be a smart move for the future. So an alternative here. Chelsea were in the market for a midfielder last season before Saúl Ñíguez came from Atletico Madrid. The Spanish international has endured a tough time at the bridge, to say the least. So could Tuchel look for a more adequate midfield option next season? I think we probably need a more in-form, combative midfielder, because remember, we bought Saúl out of form. You don't come to the Premier League when you're out of form in La Liga to play yourself into form into the Premier League, which is just going to shock your system. And indeed it did. Tuchel does not have strength and depth for midfield options. The likes of Ross Barkley and Saúl have been granted very little time this season, and the Chelsea manager may be looking to bring Sangare in to rival the current midfielders. Great as an option. I mean, at the moment, who have we got? We've got Conor Gallagher, who has to be seriously considered just because of the industry. As a double six, not in the front three. As a double six who will score the odd goal. He's tenacious. He's hopefully, tactically intelligent. He'll certainly be, I think he'll just be an option. So, Jorginho, Kante, Kovacic, and Conor Gallagher. That's 4 pretty darn good midfielders if they're all in form. But I think one will go. It could be Jorginho. That's what's been speculated. And if he does go, we'll need another new one in. So, we'll need Tchouameni or Sangare or whatever, someone like that. But let me know what you think, guys. I'm going to end the video there. We've talked about some transfers and the Lukaku contract situation. It's very, very interesting. Look forward to your feedback. I hope you like the new setup. I like it. It's fun. Comment down below. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. And of course, we've got a big FA Cup final tomorrow. Peace!
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.